Bryan Woo takes the bump tonight in his final start of the regular season, and while no team has had his number more than the Texas Rangers, could he end the year on a positive note and help keep Seattle alive? Talk about that and more coming up here on the Locked On Mariners podcast. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors. It is Friday, September 29th, 2023. This is Trident and Colby Patnode for the Locked On Mariners podcast. Thank you so much for making us your first listen. Subscribe, like, and turn on alerts if you're watching on YouTube, or subscribe and leave a 5-star review on your preferred podcast platform if you like what you hear. And if you're part of the crew and rock with us every single day, let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. And if you want to hear from us even more, please consider signing up for our Patreon. You can now get a free 7-day trial to check out the show. The link, as well as our social accounts, is in the description of this episode. On the show today, we'll dive into the pitching matchups for the final 3 games of the regular season for the Mariners, including tonight's between Nathan Eovaldi and Bryan Woo. Of course, you can catch all the action on the Mariners' hometown broadcast of SiriusXM via the SXM app. And if things don't go well for the Mariners tonight, we'll tell you what else we'll be looking for this weekend and hoping to see this weekend. But Colby, let's start with Woo, who, as I said in the cold open, has really struggled against this Texas Rangers lineup. But there are no alternatives here. You have to ride with Bryan Woo. That is your only option. And with that in mind, what are your hopes? What are your expectations? What are your dreams for Mr. Woo tonight, Coley?
My expectations are that he's going to get knocked around the ballpark a little bit. This has not been a good matchup for him. He doesn't really have a pitch to kind of counter Corey Seager in particular, but really any of the lefties. And last time he made a start, against Texas, he was in the middle of the plate, and there's also obviously the concerns about his endurance is like whatever it is, like looks like a guy who's running out of gas, which makes a ton of sense because he's, I think, doubled by this point his career high in innings pitched, and he's taken the ball every 5th or 6th day pretty much since late May, with the exception of the 2-week break they gave him by putting him on the IL. So yeah, it's tough to feel really confident about this, just because Woo has been so hit or miss down the stretch, and in particular, he's been really bad against Texas. He just doesn't really have the pitch to kind of counter these bats. So my fear is that he gets knocked around the park pretty good, and he doesn't really even give the Mariners a shot to kind of find their footing against Eovaldi, who's the guy you can get to right now. He has not been very good since his return from the IL. He was okay in his last outing, but Seattle got to him also. So this is a gettable matchup. We know how bad the Rangers bullpen can be. So my hope would be that Woo can find a way to go 4 or 5 innings, get through the lineup twice, and keep his team in the ball game. If he goes 4 or 5 and he gives up 3 or less, I'm feeling pretty good about that outing from him. And then you can turn it over to the pen. Should have Topa tonight. You should have Brash tonight. You should have Munoz tonight. I think the only guy who might be down is Spire, but we'll see. Again, he only threw 20 pitches yesterday. So I imagine that he's pretty fresh himself. So yeah, I think Woo's job is to keep his team in this game, give the offense a chance to work, let the offense not feel like they have to, climb a mountain to get back in this game. Which, I don't think is asking too much, but just again, based off of Woo's command in his last start, based off the new career high in innings pitched, based on how previous matchups have gone, and just kind of the hit or miss nature of Bryan Woo here in the second half, it's tough to feel real confident about this. So I think you have to have a really quick leash on him. If he loads the bases tonight in the first inning, you got to get somebody up, and it's annoying and it's frustrating, but it is what it is. I'm a little surprised the Mariners haven't called up somebody who can give them some innings tonight, like an Adam Aller or somebody like that, even a Tommy Malone type. But it is what it is. I think what you don't want is you don't want to have to throw Dominic Leone and Trent Thornton in the third because it's 6-0 already. And so we'll see. Those guys,
at that point, it probably doesn't really matter who goes out.
You're probably done. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd also be nice not to see Trent Thornton or Dominic Leone in, a 3-1 game. Yeah, ever, but like in a 3-1 game, like maybe be up 7-1, and then you could throw Leone out there with somebody warming up behind him automatically,
Right.
regardless. But yeah, then you could do that. But it'd be nice if the offense could really give Woo a cushion early. And it doesn't have to be they don't have to score 5 in the first. They could. I'm not saying don't, but if they could just get a run or two early and let Woo kind of navigate his way through the lineup, and it's serious, man. You get to back-to-back 3-ball counts, you kind of have to get somebody up and moving in that pen. Like it's a dead serious thing here. You cannot just wait for Woo to find it, and if that means he's only going to go, 1 1/3 and give up 2 runs, and you have to go to whoever to salvage the game that early, you have to do it. But
yeah,
I hope I'm wrong. I hope Woo, sometimes in these big games, guys find an extra tick on the fastball, or the slider sharper than it's ever been, or he magically has his changeup that day. And I mean, sometimes it's baseball, you never know what's going to happen on any given night, but it's tough to feel confident about Bryan Woo, going 5 scoreless tonight and giving you a shot. Like, to expect him to do what Logan Gilbert did last night is unfair, frankly. So my sincere hope is that Woo can go 5 and give up 3. And I would call that a pretty successful outing, give this offense a legitimate chance to win this game. The offense is going to have to step up because they have not been very good the last 2 nights, but you never know. Again, it's baseball. Every game is its own adventure. And I just hope Woo, proves me wrong. That would be amazing, and it would give the Mariners a real good shot to win this game. And that's pretty much all you could reasonably hope for.
Well, and this Rangers bullpen is going to give you opportunities. So if you can keep it relatively close and you can get Eovaldi out of this game fairly early, if you can just keep him to 5, maybe 6 innings and get at least 3 to 4 shots against that Rangers bullpen, I feel pretty solid about your chances, even for this offense, which has been so up and down. But yeah, no shade whatsoever to Bryan Woo. It's been a great rookie season for him, and he's already blown past our expectations in terms of workload and all that stuff. But yeah, it's hard to feel confident about this. But also, again, what are the alternatives here? There are none. So you just kind of have to ride with your guy and hope for the best. So that's what the Mariners are going to do here. I would think, just kind of trying to read between the lines here, that Taylor Saucedo might be the first guy out of the bullpen, given what Ryan Divish has said the last little while here, because he was expecting there to be an opener tonight before Woo, or maybe they were just going to do a bullpen day, whatever. And it seemed like he's mentioned Taylor Saucedo
right
within that context a couple times. So
also mentioned Isaiah Campbell, but Campbell pitched last night. Saucedo would make some sense as an opener a little bit. You got the 2 lefties early in the lineup, so you can attack Seager and Lowe. But again, it's followed by Garcia and Young and Garber. So it's a bit dicey, but I am surprised though that they haven't called up Adam Aller, who's on the 40-man and was starting down in Tacoma, and he's a guy that could at least go 2 or 3 innings. He's pitched in the bigs before. He's got that experience. So I think Aller would have made sense as opposed to somebody like Bizzardo, who clearly you don't trust. And it feels like at some point this weekend the Mariners are going to have to put Bizzardo and Thornton and Leone into a game, which probably means you've lost that game. But I just don't think that you can ask Brash, Munoz, Topa, and Spire to cover 4 innings every single night. So
where's Jimmy Yacobonis when you need him?
One thing I would point out here is that you might have Bryce Miller available out of the bullpen here in the next, probably not today, but Saturday, Sunday. Very real possibility they ask him to go 1 or 2 innings, to kind of bridge the gap, so to speak, if the situation calls for it. So keep an eye out on that. I don't think they're going to use Gilbert, but he might be available on Sunday for an inning or 2. It just kind of depends on where the scoreboard's at and where your standings are at. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, Woo, it's his last start of the year. Even if the Mariners make it to the playoffs or the World Series, Woo's probably not getting a start. He'll head to the bullpen, but it'd be great to send him off on a good note and cap off what has been a really good rookie year.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you can survive this, if you win tonight, You got Luis Castillo and George Kirby on the bump the next 2 days.
Yep.
Which probably means that if you somehow do get into the wild card, Logan Gilbert's starting game 1 of the wild card.
Still feeling pretty good about that.
Feel pretty good about that. But obviously there's that really unhinged timeline where you win the division, but we're
We'll
not
talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about
Coming
that.
up.
We'll talk about that in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by Sleeper. All right, folks, the MLB playoffs are right around the corner, which means the clock is ticking on your chance to 100 times your cash on daily fantasy baseball. Pick more or less on stats for your favorite players like home runs, hits, strikeouts, and more for up to a 100 times payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right, and you could win big, my friend. If things didn't go well in your home league this year, no worries. You can still salvage the fantasy baseball season over at Sleeper. There you can pick the players you want and call your shot. And when you use the promo code Locked On, that's LOCKEDON, you'll get up to $100 matched on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 30 states. Check out Sleeper today. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. Thank you again for making us your first listen. Again, you can catch the Mariners and the Rangers tonight on the Mariners hometown broadcast with SiriusXM via the SXM app. So we are going to dive into the final 2 games of the series now that we've talked about tonight's matchup. Again, we have Luis Castillo going for the Mariners tomorrow. We got George Kirby going for the Mariners on Sunday. If you're able to win tonight, I mean, you make it past Montgomery, who's arguably the Rangers' best starter. You make it past Evaldi, who obviously has the ceiling to be the Rangers' best starter. You feel pretty good about yourself if you win the first 2 games of the series, and now you got Castillo and Kirby going. And of course, Castillo has not been Luis Castillo lately, but still, if I'm going to go to war with anyone, especially in this rotation, I'm totally fine with going to war with Luis Castillo. So yeah, how do you feel about Castillo, Colby, and how do you feel about Kirby for the final 2 starts of this series?
Yeah, obviously tonight is the big one. It's probably the game you have the lowest odds of winning. But yeah, if you can get past tonight, if you can win tonight, find a way to win tonight, you have, you're the 2 highest upside guys in your rotation are going back to back, and they're going up against what I believe will be either a bullpen day or Martin Perez, which either way advantage you at the end of it. And then Sunday is kind of it's a game 7, or it could be, in a way, it could be a game 7. And at that point, anybody's guess, anybody's ball game. And you just kind of go to battle with that. And we've talked about how George has had the ability to kind of rise in these big games. We talk about his start last year in Houston. We talk about his start over Felix weekend. We talk about his last start against Houston. So, he has the ability to kind of step his game up in big moments. So you feel pretty good about that. Like, if you can win tonight, then you're going to have the pitching advantage this weekend in both games, really without any debate, without any question. Even Rangers fans would tell you, yes, like that's brutal. It's tough to look past tonight. It really is, because if you win tonight, or if you lose tonight and Houston wins tonight, like, it's basically curtains for you. Still shot, but you got to win the last 2. They have to win the last 2. So it's tough to look past that. But if you can get by tonight, and even if you lose tonight and Houston also loses, and you go 2 games left, you have to go 2-0, and Houston has to go 1-1. You feel really good about your 2 best guys being the guys who are going to go, and you're going to go down swinging. You're going to go down with your best on the mound, and that's really all you can hope for. It would be incredible if you win the next 2 and Houston loses the next 2 and you're in, and then maybe you don't have to start George Kirby on Sunday. Maybe you just, roll with Adam Oller, or you call up Tommy Malone or whatever. And now all of a sudden the first 2 games, regardless of if you win the division or the wild card, like, maybe then it's George Kirby and Logan Gilbert in the wild card round, and you feel really good about that. And then Castillo's going to pitch game 3. Like, that'd be amazing, right? Win the next 2, Houston loses the next 2. That is quite literally perfect.
I'm sure that will happen.
Oh,
totally.
Absolutely. Yes. If there's one thing we know about the Mariners, when they get to game 160, 161, and 162, with everything an outside goes well. Shot of getting into the playoffs, things go perfectly every single time.
Always goes according to plan.
Yep. You always get the
I'm
scoreboard
looking at
you
you,
want.
Nick Martinez.
Mhm. You always get the scoreboard you want. You always get the pitching matchup you want. Like, it works out every time. It's totally not Tyler Anderson and the Red Sox going up against the second worst team in baseball. Totally, that's never happened before. But yeah, so yeah. If you get by tonight, if you win tonight, I feel really good about your odds. Again, you still don't control your own destiny. Unfortunately, you're still going to need a win, from at least one win from Arizona. But I think if you get by tonight, you have a really good shot to win the last two games. We'll see. But I think more than anything, you want to win tonight. If you get to the weekend, the actual weekend, still only a game back, I like your odds. But if you lose tonight and Houston wins tonight, it's probably over and it doesn't really matter who's starting. But and the chance it does, I mean, honestly, like, maybe I'd rather start Gilbert than one of those two guys, but that's not an option. And if it's, I can't start Gilbert, who are the next two guys I want in must win games, I want Castillo, I want Kirby, and I'll take my chances.
Absolutely. 100%. So yeah, like you said, you don't necessarily control your own destiny here. You're going to need some help. And the most obvious way for you to get help here is for the Diamondbacks to beat the Astros. They began their 3-game series tonight. It's JP France against Zach Gallen. France has had a good rookie year, but the Mariners have been able to get to him. A couple of other teams have been able to get to him. It's definitely possible that the Diamondbacks can do some damage against him. And obviously, Zach Gallen's been one of the best pitchers, not just in the National League, but in Major League Baseball as a whole. Saturday, it's going to be Verlander against to be determined. We'll see. I would think that's going to be Merrill Kelly, but see how that turns out. And then Sunday's pitching matchup, as far as I'm aware, between those two teams is not determined. So we'll see how that all falls. And I'm sure that's all dependent on what the situation calls for and what that all looks like. But Colby, the Mariners need help from an unlikely source, the Chicago Cubs, right?
Yeah. So basically, the Cubs are going to start their game about an hour and a half before Arizona, and Houston plays about 2 hours before the Mariners play. If the Cubs lose, Arizona is in the playoffs. They'll have clinched the spot, one of the wild card spots, and I doubt they care too much about seeding, but they will be in. So you're rooting for Chicago to win tonight, to put pressure on the Diamondbacks, because what you don't want to do is you don't want them to look at the scoreboard and see like, oh, it's 6-0. The Cubs are, gonna lose. Like, why do I need to put Gallen out there for another 2 or 3 innings? So,
well, and also keep in mind here, if they clinch, they're probably celebrating tonight, and they're probably running out a hangover lineup tomorrow afternoon against Justin Verlander.
Right. And they're probably not too worried about starting Merrill Kelly, who's probably at that point now their game 1 starter. So yeah, you want the Diamondbacks to be as motivated as possible. And sometimes hangover lineups are overrated, or the effects after. Like, we remember last year the Mariners clinched and they had a huge party, and everyone was like, well, they're going to lose because they partied so hard. But
the Mariners weren't facing Justin Verlander that next day.
Right. But still, it's just one of those things. Like, I feel like we see it a lot, right? Like, oh yeah, they're not even going to try anymore, and then they're like, no, they still win, the next series because guys play loose, they play free, and yeah, you're a little more cautious with guys on, your pitching and all that stuff, but there's nothing to lose, man. So you go out there, whereas the Diamondbacks would have nothing to lose, the Astros would have everything to lose. So sometimes that aspect is a little overvalued, but yeah, tonight in particular, Gallen is your best shot to get the Astros to lose a game that you really need them to. So I think you want Gallen to have his normal workload tonight, and the best way to assure that is to hope that the Cubs win to keep pressure on Arizona.
Go Cubs, go. Go Cubs, go. Yeah. All right. So if this thing goes sideways, either tonight or tomorrow, whatever, let's talk about what else we'd like to see here before the end of the season. Talk about that in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by DoorDash. Wow, DoorDash. Need fresh groceries for the week but don't have the time to go to the store? Try grocery delivery from DoorDash. You'll get everything you want delivered when you need it right to your door. With thousands of grocery stores to choose from, you'll find the best in your neighborhood and boost your local economy with each and every order. You'll get exactly what you ordered, or we'll make it right. So sit back and enjoy quality groceries just like you picked them yourself. And with easy substitutions right in the app and best-in-class customer support, DoorDash delivers groceries exactly how you want it. Get 50% off your first DoorDash order up to a $20 value when you use promo code LOCKEDONMLB at checkout. Limited time offer, terms apply. That's 50% off up to $20, no minimum subtotal, and 0 delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Don't forget, that's promo code LOCKEDONMLB for 50% off your first order with DoorDash. 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 That's right, DoorDash. You're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. Thank you again for making us your first listen. Again, you can catch the Mariners and the Rangers tonight on the Mariners hometown broadcast with SiriusXM via the SXM app. I don't know what my brain was doing there. Going into the ad read. Anyway, so again, if things fall apart here for the Mariners, either tonight, tomorrow, whatever. Colby, you're going to be going to the game on Sunday. What are you going to be looking for? What are you going to hope to see just as the Mariners wrap up the season, potentially without a whimper?
Nothing.
Sure.
I mean, like, it really doesn't matter. You know, if they're out of it on Sunday, they might not even start Kirby. Like, why bother?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's I've sat I've actually haven't sat in the stadium you know, when the team's been headed into the game eliminated. I've gone to the last game of the year or game 161 or 162 every time over the last decade that they've had a shot to get in, which is 2014, 2016, and 2021. And they've lost 2 of them, and the other one they didn't get the cooperation they needed on the scoreboard. So yeah, I've never actually gone to a game where it's, you know, that late where it's like it's over. They've always had at least an outside shot of getting in. So yeah, I'm not really sure what that's going to be like. Now, I've been to plenty of Mariner games where they've been bad and they've been out of it. So like, who cares? You just kind of chilling, watching a ball game, just trying to get down to T-Mobile one last time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Sunday game, I mean, Julio might not play. Why would he? There's really not much of a point. But yeah, it's always, you know, kind of bittersweet to go down there after the season's ended and you know, you're just kind of giving guys a round of applause for a nice effort, which sometimes they don't deserve. Like, I'm supposed to cheer for Luis Castillo after what he did on what? No, I mean, it's whatever. But yeah, you know,
Sure.
the whole objective is, you know, I don't care if they win 87 or 88 or 89 if they're not getting in the playoffs. Those couple extra wins don't mean anything to me.
Right.
So yeah, you just mostly don't get hurt, don't do anything stupid.
Yep.
You know, let's not, you know, get into a brawl or anything and somebody, you know, breaks their elbow, and no, we don't want to Archie Bradley ourselves.
Team brawl though. Team brawl. At that point,
sure.
suspension wise, like, that doesn't matter.
I mean, we'll see, but yeah, no, it's definitely a different vibe. If you go into Sunday and you're eliminated, I would say that's unlikely, but also, I don't know. And it also could be a different vibe because what if Seattle wins the next 2 and Houston loses the next 2 and you're in going into Sunday? I've been in that situation. I was at the game after the Mariners clinched, and let me tell you, the vibe was immaculate. It was great. Nobody really cared about the game. I mean, you were watching and you were cheering and all that, but you're like, you know, he hung a curveball. What are you going to do? Like, it doesn't really matter. Yeah. So yeah, that vibe is incredible. And I hope that that's the vibe that I get, because I've also been at games where you've clinched and my shoulders won't recover if I do that again. So yeah, there's a lot of different variables that could go into this Sunday, what the vibe's going to feel like and all that. So my preference honestly would be that they just win the next 2 and Houston loses, and it's just that chill vibe. And you're just there to kind of like, you know, send off the boys to Minnesota and all that stuff. But I think more than likely what it's going to be is you need to win, Houston needs to lose, or you need to win and you're in. Like, I really hope that's what's happening, but yeah, we'll see if they're out of it. Like, I don't know. I'm just going to be there. I'm just going to be existing in the ballpark.
Yeah.
Because there's just not a ton to, it's tough to be like, you know, the boys deserve our support after they fail to make the playoffs. And it's like, do they?
Colby's not that guy. He's definitely not that guy.
I'm not the participation trophy guy.
Yeah,
I'm really not. And
that's nothing against anyone that wants to do that and go support the team and all that stuff. That's totally fine. You can do that. But Colby is not that guy. Asking Colby to be that guy is a losing game.
I've coached Little League for like 8 years and I never got participation trophies, never gave them away. Like, screw you. Earn them. I don't care if you're 8. But I'm not that guy.
Yeah. Clearly.
No, I mean, like, there are certainly individuals that you want to, like, JP had an incredible season.
Yep.
You know, Julio.
And we're gonna do all that on the show next week.
Like,
yeah.
They're even if they're eliminated, there will be positive shows next week.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can change that. But
he will try. He will try.
There were definitely positives coming out of this year. Bryan Woo and Bryce Miller are both positives coming out of this year. You know, JP obviously career year, Cal career year so far, Julio career year so far.
Yep.
You know, Kelnick career year so far.
Yep.
You know, and then, you know, that's just, there are guys that we love, even though they didn't do their jobs this year. Eugenio is a guy, and it's a likable team. It really is. You know, there's a lot of good personalities on this squad, but at the end of the day, I'm not patting them on the back because they fell 1 game short again. Like, we're past that. We're well past that. So going into if this things goes sideways the next 2 days, like, I'm going to the game on Sunday. Don't really care what happens. As long as nobody gets hurt. Like, I don't want to go to a game and Julio not playing it, but if you're eliminated, like, why?
Because, like, something could happen.
You put Sam Haggerty in center field, and that's the end of it. Like,
because, like, something could happen that could impact 2024 at that point. Like, I'm not running the risk of that. Look, I want to preface this by saying this is not going to happen. I have no faith in this happening. But this is about what we would like to see. So whatever.
It is?
Yeah.
So, and I want Houston to win 2 of 3, and you are going for the sweep, baby. That's
yeah. And then we win the division somehow. The one timeline. I told you. I saw it. I traveled through the multiverse last night. I saw the one timeline.
The 1 in 14,605,000.
But if things go sideways, I would like to see, like, Prolando Baroa get called up for, you know, the final 2 games. Get to see him pitch.
They did that with Munoz a couple years back.
Yeah, Arkansas season just ended last night or the night before. So would like to see Baroa. Maybe someone like Zach DeLoach get an opportunity. And the way that you can make room for these guys is, like, Bryce Miller gets optioned, or, you know, Bryan Woo gets optioned, or whatever. There's a bunch of ways that you can do that.
You just put somebody on the IL.
You can just put someone on the IL. Like, it doesn't matter. But yeah, so I would like to see those guys maybe get an opportunity for a game or 2, especially, like, on Sunday. If you're not going to play Julio and you're not going to play JP, etc., let Zach DeLoach get a start. Let him make his major league debut.
Sure,
like, whatever.
I mean, something entertaining.
Something that makes me want to watch the game.
Sure. I mean, maybe you call up, like, Ryder Ryan and he gets, like, 2 innings or whatever.
Yeah, Ryder Ryan, baby.
They did him so dirty.
They really
did.
What?
Put Mike Ford in left field. Why not? Who cares?
Screw it. You know what? Have someone play every position.
That'd be entertaining. Sure.
Yeah.
Mike Ford catches the first pitch.
Yeah.
It's a ball. It's way outside. And then you just, go play first base, big guy.
Yeah.
And you just kind of working through that way. If you're going to let anybody play all 9 positions, I think it has to be Mike Ford, just for the entertainment value.
Right. Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, realistically, it's Dylan who would do that. But, like, how is that fun?
Sam, maybe.
Cabby, I could
Cabby. Yeah.
But
Luis Torrens.
Yeah. I mean, hey, maybe we get Luis Torrens get the dub again on the mound.
I don't think they'll make exceptions to the new rules, though, even in the last game, if it doesn't matter. So you gotta be up by 10 or losing by 9. I think that's what it is.
It's like 8 after the 8th inning or whatever. But so probably not going to get the win or the save unless things go really badly. But
really well.
Like, I would like to see Luis get a freaking start. Like, we really have to DH Sam Haggerty. Like, we can't DH Cal, for the love of God, and give him 1/2 game off down the stretch here. No, we just got to bury him. By the way, like, backup catcher is going to be a huge priority for the Mariners this offseason. It has to be, because, like,
re-sign Tom Murphy. Re-sign Tom Murphy.
I don't know that's going to work, man. You need somebody who's going to post. Like, you need somebody who's going to be healthy. I mean, we're not getting in the weeds on that and on this show, but, like, Good
Yeah.
Lord. Cal's going to catch 120-ish games again this year. Like, that's too many.
Yeah.
Like, Cal
Also,
can play
Gino
120 games.
Suarez should not play 162 games again next year.
No, that's not a good thing. Like, the Mariners have had more players play like in 145 or more games this year than any team in baseball. That's not a good thing.
That's because you don't have proper depth. But whatever. We're getting too in the weeds. We're having conversations that we'll have plenty of time to do or to have starting maybe next week. Hopefully not starting next week, but we'll have plenty of time no matter what. So.
Real fast, Ty, before we go, I'm just gonna here are all the scenarios in which the Seattle Mariners guarantee a playoff spot.
Okay.
This weekend.
Hit me.
So if the Astros win all three, if they sweep Arizona, you're out. Period.
Yeah.
So there's no scenario where they sweep and you still get in.
Mm-hmm.
If the Astros win 2 and the Mariners win 4, congratulations, you are American League West champions. So the Mariners have already won the first one, so they just have to win 3. So the Mariners win the next 3, and Houston wins exactly 2 of the next 3. Congratulations, baby. You're AL West champions. We're hanging a banner, and Monday's show is completely different.
It'd be hilarious if we got to a point where we're actually rooting for the Astros to win.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the tiebreaker on the Rangers. So even if you win all these games and tie the Rangers, you don't win the AL West unless the Astros win exactly 2 games.
Right. There's a scenario where you win all 4, the Astros win all 3, and you still miss the playoffs. So that's the narrowest margin to victory, but it's your only chance of the division.
That would happen though.
It feels very Mariners-y. It does. It really does.
Would happen. Yeah.
So the most likely scenario continues to be the Astros lose the series.
Mm-hmm.
Did I mention if the Astros win 2 and you win 3, you're also in. So that's kind of the most likely, I guess.
Yeah.
If the Astros win 1, if you win 2 of the next 3, you're in.
Yep.
And if the Astros win 0, you just need 1 win. So that's pretty much the only scenario where you get in. Again, the miraculous time stone, we'll call it the Infinity Gauntlet timeline, is you win the next 3, Houston wins 2 of 3. If that happens, you're the number 2 seed in the American League with 89 wins. You get the bye. And in that scenario, I believe actually Texas would be the odd team out, which isn't ideal. I would prefer the Astros to be the odd team out, but hey, you know what? I'll take what I can get. So at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is you win 1 more game than the Astros over the next 3. That's it. You do that, you're in.
Yep.
And then it's just a matter of seeding and do you have a shot to actually win the division? That's the only thing that matters. So but there is the Infinity Gauntlet route that you could go.
You know what? At this point, that's what I'm rooting for. That's like, why not? Let's just, it's not going to happen. But why not cope for 3 more days here?
It's just like the most backwards way you could possibly get into the most like through the backdoor division win in history. But I'll take whatever you can get. There are 6 scenarios that have you getting into the playoffs. There might be 1 more with Toronto, Houston, and you all being in the same 3-way tie. If that happens, I think you're in also. So tiebreakers are actually good for Seattle. If you're in a tiebreaker, a 3-way tiebreaker, Seattle's getting in. That's basically the scenario. But that would mean that I think you'd have to win the next 3 and Toronto would have to get swept. That's the only way that happens. So and Houston would have to win 2 of 3. So
I'm pretty sure there's a way for you to win the division and Houston misses. It's if you have the 3-way tie in the division and then there's like a 4-way tie technically in the wild card, but it's actually a 3-way tie because it would come down to Texas, Houston, Toronto. I think Houston loses out on that 3-way tiebreaker.
That's the only way. Yeah.
Yeah. So
again,
that would be the best timeline.
Yes. But again, if you're wanting to scoreboard watch 2 games, that's it. You're watching Seattle versus Texas. You're watching Houston versus Arizona. And if you win tonight, hypothetically, and Houston loses, you don't even have to watch the out of town scoreboard because if the Mariners win their next 2, they're in. So again, It's tough to feel really great tonight. I think the kind of the like ideal realistic outcome. I mean, I guess it's realistic that you win and Houston loses. Like that's totally on the table. But
Yeah,
like,
whatever. Yeah.
you really, at the end of the day, you really want Houston to lose this game because it's the one they're most likely to lose.
Yeah.
But if you don't win, whatever. Again, at the end of the day, 3 games left for both teams. You need to win one more than Houston. End of story. That's how you get in.
Paul Sewald has the opportunity to do the funniest thing ever.
Oh God. Waiting for you to send that chills gif.
Oh,
if Paul knocks Houston out of the playoffs.
Oh, that will be my greatest chills ever.
God. Don't encourage him, folks.
I will delete every the episode where we just drag Jerry. I will issue a 30-minute apology.
I absolutely will not.
7D chess. 7D chess by
absolutely
Jerry
will
and
not.
Justin Hollander. All right. We're well over time. That's going to do it for our show. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners podcast. For Colby Patnode, I'm Trident Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Dane Gonzalez, the CANEGNZLZ, and Colby at CPAT11, that's CPAT11. You can also find all that stuff in the description of this episode. And thank you again for making us your first listen. Again, you can catch the Mariners and the Rangers tonight on the Mariners hometown broadcast with SiriusXM via the SXM app. Have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.